Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about education. Now, I went ahead and discussed education's part 1 and 2, but this other topic regarding education came up, so I guess I'm going to label this education part 3. And it's not what you think. This is about people who are set in their ways, who don't want to make any changes, but they know if those changes were made, it could change their financial situation dramatically. Don't be a fool. Don't be a fool. If you're in a situation, let's say that you work a manufacturing job. This is a good example. Let's say you worked a manufacturing job for years, then all of a sudden a company gets taken over and they want to go digital into the 21st century. They want to change the machinery that you use. They want to change even everything down to the time clock programs, everything. They're going to digitize everything. And here you are, you've been with the company, let's say, since 1981, 1991, whatever it is, you put in some time at the job. Now, you still have a little while before it's time to retire, so the option of you just leaving without any money in your pocket is not anything to consider right now because you still have sizable obligations. Well, first of all, you have to accept the fact that you're going to have to learn these things. You're going to have to learn these things. And a lot of times with these particular businesses, they offer additional training for people who aren't very familiar with computers or digital equipment. Usually a lot of manufacturing plants will offer that. They'll offer their own training for their own machinery, but plenty of times they'll have resources. If they don't offer them on site, they'll go ahead and they'll have some kind of connection with some sort of a company or agency that provides some of the basic information that you need. You might be one of these people that can't stand computers, and you only do a little bit that you need to do when you have to do it, so you're not very computer savvy. You don't know anything about word processing or QuickBooks or trying to edit in Adobe. You're not that detailed. You just get on the computer, play some games, read your emails, do a little surfing, and that's the extent of your interaction with computers. You barely know how to do Zoom call. So, and there are some people that are still like that in this day and age. But the thing is once you find out your company is going digital and they probably have given you that advance notice, that's the time where you need to go ahead and you need to start learning is take a basic computer class at different places. There are different agencies sponsored by the government that offer free computer classes. So what you might want to do is contact your local or city government office and find out which agency is offering it. It's usually offered at your neighborhood community centers for free. Or you could just go online and look up free online seminars if you don't want to go in person. But I mean, even I think the YMCA even offers computer classes. I know they did back in the day. Their lineup could have changed. But it's just there are a lot of agencies where you don't have to pay if you don't have any computer literacy to that level and you think it's going to be a problem working with the new equipment. You need to go ahead and learn it. Because the bottom line is that this particular job, this is your bread and butter. And you may have a side hustle, but it's not sizable enough to replace the income from your job. So you've got to look around inside your digs and realize that your job is paying for what's within these four walls. And if you don't get on board, what's going to happen is they're going to turn around and get somebody who's going to get less money an hour, because if you've been there for a while, you're getting a sizable wage. And someone who's teachable, who's willing to learn it. They probably already have the basic computer skills already. They probably have more than basic. But they have more energy, and they're willing to they're willing to adapt, and they're trainable. But here you are, you want to sit there on Friday afternoon after you get the news, after you get the email or the bulletin or whatever. You're all sitting beside yourself, and you're sitting on the porch with your cousin and your wife, sitting up there chasing down 40s and complaining about how the fact the job is doing this and their job is doing that, and how could they do that to you, and you've been there all those years, and blah, 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 blah. You're taking it all personally. When all you have to do is say, okay, well, you know what? The company has been bought out. We got new management. There's some changes. Let me figure out what I need to know in order to make sure that I can level up and be able to operate this equipment. That's a healthy attitude to take. That's a healthy attitude to take. It doesn't matter if you're 40, 50, 60, whatever the case may be. Bottom line is that the sign on the building before you clock into work does not have your name on it. It has somebody else's name on it, or a name that somebody else chose who owns that company. You don't own that company just because you've been there for 20, 30, 40 years. I don't know where you got that in your head, walking around talking about how indispensable you are. Now that this company is getting ready to make this change, those people don't care anything about you. They got 3, 4, 5, 600 other people who are willing to make that change, and you think that you're not going to be able to. Okay, keep it up. You're going to be sitting on that porch with your cousin and your wife more often than Friday. You're going to be doing it every single day because you won't have a job. And I hate to say it, there are a lot of cases where you have disgruntled employees that do damaging things after they've been let go. In some of those cases, after they do the investigation, come to find out they lost their job. And then when they investigate the reason why they lost their job, it's because they weren't willing to adapt to the changes in the job. I've been there for 20, 30, 40 years and they let me go. Why? See, some of y'all wouldn't like me because I'll ask why. And the reason why I'm asking why in the first place is because the way you're presenting the information to me, it just doesn't gel well. There's something missing. And I could pick that up right away. And there are a lot of people that are just like me, just like the nice people that are listening to this audio right now. They'll pick it up right away. They're like, why? Something ain't right about that. Because if you were doing everything perfectly, you wouldn't be having this conversation. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes places will buy out other places, and they'll turn around and they'll let people go for, monetary reasons, whatever the case may be. That does happen. But in the case that there is a takeover, first of all, you should be thankful that you still do have your job and they didn't lay you off because of the new management. So on that basis alone, you should be willing to roll with the punches. But the thing is, just because you've been with a company all them years, your name is not on that sign. You do not own that company. You are not the CEO. You are not the president. You're still an employee. And for those of you that are in mid and upper management, don't get your ass on your shoulders. You're still an employee because your name still is not on the outside of that building. You may be doing well, and that's nice, and you worked up the ranks, but you haven't worked up to the rank where you own the company. You're still an employee. And if that ruffles your feathers, too damn bad. But the bottom line is this. You've got somebody above you still that's telling you what to do still. When you get your paycheck, that's their signature on the bottom line, not yours, still. If you have such leadership qualities where you think you got such, since you the bomb and everything else, go ahead and quit and start your own business so that way you can call all the shots. Other than that, you're still an employee as long as somebody else is signing your check. You're still an employee. I work a part-time job. There's only a few of us there, but I know, and I have an important job. However, I have sense enough to know that my name is not on the outside of that building and my name is not on the bottom of my paycheck every week. I have sense enough to know that. I have superior. I have a boss. And it's a very small company. There's only 5 of us right now. But still, I'm an employee. Yes, my job is important, but I'm an employee. When I get paid every week, I look at the bottom of my check, and it's his signature on that line, not mine. When I pull up to the job every single morning and I see the sign on the building, it's his name on the building, not mine. There's nothing wrong with being proud of the job that you have. There's nothing wrong with being proud of the progress that you made from being on the assembly line to upper management. There's nothing wrong with being proud. But don't get your ass all so much on your shoulders just because you're in upper management, you still don't own the company. So if the company is bought out by someone else, and they come in with new rules and regulations and everything else, don't be sitting on the porch with your wife and your cousin on Friday afternoon chugging down 40s, getting pissed off and mad, and complaining about how you did all this for the company and how essential you are. Because that's just talk. And you're doing it out of fear. You're afraid. All that time and all that talk that you're doing, the minute that you found out they were going digital and you knew that you didn't have the computer skills to deal with what they're dealing with, that was your time to level up in your free time. That time that you spent sitting on the porch getting drunk with your wife and your cousin, you could have spent that time trying to find that free computer class and getting on the ball. Because guess what? The world is changing and ain't shit you can do about it. So you need to grow up. Either that or they're going to find somebody else that's willing to do your job for less pay. And that's just the way it is in business. It's not an issue of right and wrong. So please don't go to church on Sunday and go to the altar and pray that things will change and this, that, and the other. It has nothing to do with you. It doesn't revolve around you. And if it bothers you that much, hopefully you got a few dollars extra where you can go ahead and open that business you've been talking about doing for the past 30, 40 years, but you never did do because you've been working 70 hours a week for these people. And that way you can have as much limited whatever knowledge you could get, however knowledge you want to have or don't have as your business, because that is your business. But as long as you're working for someone else, you have to follow their protocol and their rules. It's okay to get over the initial shock of being bought out and all the changes. It's natural for a lot of the employees to be a little disgruntled for a little while. But that conversation is real short because when it's time to pay those bills, they go home and see what they're responsible for. They get over it real quick. But you do have those select few a month after the fact, 2 months after the fact. It's something that's probably going to start like in 6 months or maybe 90 days or something like that. This person's still going on about it 2-3 months after the fact, still going on about it. And they're going to make the mistake because they're so wound up. They're going to make the mistake of saying it to the wrong employee who they had confidence in. And that employee is going to go right up to management, tell them exactly what you said, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to be handed your coat. You're going to be handed your coat. Told to clock out, that's it. And you're wondering where it came from. Then you're going to go back home with your 40s and sit on the porch with your wife and your cousin and talk about how so-and-so snitched on you. No, you snitched on your damn self. Ain't nobody snitched on you. First of all, you were dumb enough to sit up there and express your displeasure to another employee. I don't care how many years y'all been together, because at the end of the day, it's all about paying for your digs. That other employee is trying to do everything they can to take care of what they need to take care of. You don't know what kind of financial strain that they're under. So they're probably willing to sell their mama to keep that job. They don't care about snitching on you. And you dumb enough to sit there and express your displeasure of the changes. That's a huge risk to take. I'm going to tell you something. There's a lot of employees, because I made this mistake in the past when I was young and dumb. Let's say you work in a job and everything, and you get along with some of the employees to the fact, to the point where, okay, you can hang out for a while and everything. But when it gets to that conversation, when they start talking about the jobs and certain people and certain situations, it's time for you to make your exit. Either change the subject or make your exit. Because what's going to happen is when you get back to work the next day, your name's going to be thrown in some bullshit. And them same people running their mouth, the clock ticking on them anyway, because you don't know what their record is. And somebody amongst the group went back and said, "Oh, you know what? Deanna was out there with us last night too." Didn't say that you didn't say anything. Didn't say that you engaged in the conversation. For the simple fact that you were there, you're already given the impression that you were already part of the whole mess. Your name got dragged into something you weren't even guilty of. So you guys got to be careful, when you're dealing with other coworkers and stuff, and y'all want to hang out on your off time, do that. But, this issue of just bringing up all these different people and all their different situations on the off time, you don't know who you're talking to. And I remember recently when I finally realized what was going on in the workplace in that regard. In recent years, what I have done is if I ever come across a co-worker that was doing that, I would cut them off. I would quit talking to them off clock. I wouldn't talk to them. I would conveniently lose their phone number. I would just only see them at work, and I would limit my conversation and my associations with them. I would. Because the bottom line is that you need your money to take care of what you're working for. I just wanted to put that out there to kind of help you guys out because, I know I talk a lot about relationships and everything. But see, all relationships don't have to be romantic. There are business relationships you can have as well, where you can increase your communication level and just learn how to get along with your coworkers better too. And you guys might not think it's a big deal that you're sharing all this information with your coworkers, but then when all of a sudden you start getting your hours cut or you're not considered for promotions and things like that, and you're wondering why, because you put in all this time, and you've been attentive, and you've done everything they told you to do, and you're wondering why, it's probably because you're sharing too much corporate information and personal information with the wrong person at the job, so you got to be careful with that. And with that, I hope you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you next time.